What if I told you the retirement advice you've trusted your entire life is quietly costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars? We're about to expose the 10 biggest retirement lies that are draining your nest egg, and the truth could save you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. For decades, we've been fed a steady diet of so-called rules for retirement. They're repeated so often that we just accept them as fact. But the retirement landscape today looks nothing like it did 20 or even 10 years ago. We're living longer, spending our money differently, and facing entirely new economic challenges. Sticking to these outdated myths is like using a flip phone in an AI world. It just doesn't work anymore. In this video, we're going to dismantle the 10 most dangerous myths standing between you and a secure retirement. By the end, you'll have a clear, modern framework for what it really takes to retire with confidence. Let's get into it. Myth number 1, your expenses will drop dramatically. The first and probably most common myth is that your expenses will magically shrink the moment you retire. You stop commuting, you stop buying work clothes, you stop eating out for lunch, so your budget should drop by 20–30%, right? Wrong. For most people, spending doesn't disappear, it just shifts. The money you used to spend on your commute now goes toward gas for road trips. The clothing budget gets reallocated to hobbies, home improvement projects, or travel. And one of the biggest new expenses you'll face is healthcare. Most experts suggest you should plan to need between 55% and 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your lifestyle, with some research even suggesting you plan for 100%. Assuming your expenses will plummet is a recipe for disaster that can leave you with a massive shortfall just a few years into retirement. Myth number 2, Social Security will cover most of your expenses. This myth is a dangerous one. A lot of people believe that even if their savings fall short, Social Security will be a safety net that covers the majority of their needs. That's a huge assumption. On average, Social Security was only ever designed to replace about 37–40% of the average worker's pre-retirement earnings. For 2026, the average monthly retirement benefit is estimated to be around $2,071. Think about that for a second. Can you live comfortably on just over $2,000 a month? For most people, the answer is a hard no. While Social Security is a primary source of income for many older Americans, viewing it as your main plan rather than a supplement to your own savings is a critical error. Myth number 3, Medicare covers all your healthcare costs. Here's a lie that can cost you dearly. It's easy to assume that once you turn 65 and enroll in Medicare, your healthcare worries are over. But Medicare is far from an all-you-can-eat buffet. Original Medicare has significant gaps. It doesn't cover routine dental care, vision exams for glasses, or hearing aids. And maybe the most shocking gap is long-term custodial care, the kind of help you might need with daily activities like bathing or dressing. Medicare will not pay for that. Even for covered services, there are deductibles and copayments. For 2026, the Part A hospital deductible is $1,736 per benefit period, and you could face that multiple times in a single year. Believing Medicare is a free pass on healthcare is a myth that can lead to devastating out-of-pocket costs. Myth number 4, the 4% rule guarantees your money will last. For decades, the 4% rule was treated as gospel. It says you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio in your first year of retirement, adjust for inflation each year after, and your money should last for 30 years. But this rule was created back in the 1990s, a time of higher bond yields and very different market conditions. Today, relying on it blindly is risky. The biggest threat is something called sequence of returns risk. If you happen to retire right before a major market downturn, withdrawing 4% from a shrinking portfolio can permanently damage your nest egg and drastically increase your odds of running out of money. Recent studies suggest that in today's market, a safer withdrawal rate might be closer to 3.5% or 3.9%. The 4% rule isn't a guarantee, it's a guideline that doesn't account for market volatility or the fact that many retirements now last much longer than 30 years. Myth number 5, I can't afford to save for retirement right now. This is less of a myth and more of a mental block that costs people a fortune. Young workers especially look at their student loans, rent, and daily expenses and feel they simply can't afford to put money away for something that's decades away. The truth is, you can't afford not to. Thanks to the power of compound interest, small amounts saved early in your career have a massive impact. Skipping your employer's 401k match is literally turning down free money. Even saving just 1% of your income is a powerful start. Delaying your savings means you have to contribute exponentially more later in life just to catch up. Procrastinating by just 10 years can literally cut your final nest egg in half due to lost compounding. It's never too late to start, but the best time was yesterday. Myth number 6. I'll just work longer if I need to. This is the ultimate fallback plan for so many people who are behind on their savings. They think, if my numbers don't add up, I'll just work until I'm 70. Here's the harsh reality. Life often has other plans. Research consistently shows that a majority of people retire earlier than they expect. One study from the Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies found that nearly 60% of retirees left the workforce sooner than planned. The reasons are rarely happy ones. They often include personal health problems, the need to care for a sick spouse, or company downsizing. Relying on working longer isn't a strategy, it's a gamble. You need a plan that allows you to retire on your own terms, because you might not get a choice in the matter. Myth number 7. $1 million is the magic number for retirement. We've all heard it. Become a millionaire and you're set for life. This arbitrary number gets thrown around constantly, but it's dangerously misleading. Whether $1 million is enough depends entirely on your lifestyle, where you live, your health, and what other income you have. Let's use that more conservative 3.9% withdrawal rate we talked about. A $1 million portfolio generates $39,000 a year before taxes. Is that enough for you to live on for 30 years? Maybe, but for many people, especially in higher cost of living areas, that's not going to cut it. There is no universal magic number. The only number that matters is your number, which has to be based on the retirement lifestyle you actually want to live. Myth number 8. My taxes will be lower in retirement. It seems logical, right? You stop earning that big paycheck, so your tax bill should go down. But many retirees are shocked to find themselves paying just as much or even more in taxes. Here's why. You may have less income, but you also have fewer deductions. Your mortgage might be paid off and you're no longer contributing to a 401k. On top of that, your retirement income itself is often taxable. Withdrawals from traditional IRAs and 401ks are taxed as ordinary income. Depending on your other income, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits could be taxable. And once you have to start taking required minimum distributions, RMDs, you're forced to take withdrawals that could easily push you into a higher tax bracket. Myth number 9. My portfolio should be ultra-conservative. As people get closer to retirement, the fear of losing money often drives them to move their entire portfolio into safe investments, like bonds and cash. While you should absolutely reduce risk, getting too conservative is a mistake that can cost you dearly. The biggest risk for a retiree isn't just a market dip, it's inflation. A portfolio that isn't growing will be slowly eaten alive by rising costs over a 20 or 30-year retirement. Your money has to keep working for you. A balanced portfolio that still includes growth assets like stocks is crucial to make sure your savings can outpace inflation and last for the rest of your life. The old school advice of just putting everything in bonds is outdated. A flexible, balanced approach is key. Myth number 10. I have plenty of time to save. This is the most dangerous myth of all because when you're young, it feels true. Retirement seems like a lifetime away, but time is the single most powerful asset you have in building wealth, and procrastination is devastating. Let's be crystal clear. Delaying your savings, even by just a few years, has a massive financial cost. Waiting from age 25 to 35 to start saving could mean you need to save 3 times as much every single month just to reach the same goal. The magic of compounding needs a long runway to work. Even if you're in your 50s, it's not too late to make a huge impact, but the sense of urgency has to be real. You don't have plenty of time. You have the time you have now. Start today. So, there you have it. 10 pervasive myths that are quietly costing people thousands and sabotaging their retirement dreams. The old rules just don't apply anymore. Believing your expenses will drop, that Social Security is a complete safety net, or that you can just work longer are all gambles you really can't afford to take.